Her voice cut clean through the delicate clinking of champagne glasses and polite murmurs. "Still by yourself, huh?" she smirked. An expression once disguised as charm but now exposed for what it really was. Practiced cruelty. I met her eyes. Even smiled. Tonight wasn't about exchanging pleasantries. It had been 4 years since she abandoned me for Carter Vale, tech tycoon billionaire, the sort of man who didn't shake hands so much as purchase loyalty. She chased luxury like a moth drawn to a penthouse chandelier. Back then, we were building a life on dreams and borrowed time. When my business began to sink, she didn't hesitate. She leapt into his arms before I hit the bottom. I still remember the night I saw that message on her phone. "He'll never be you, but I'm tired of being poor." Sent to her friend. I read it at 3:17 a.m., alone in our bed. I didn't rage. I didn't scream. The next morning, I kissed her forehead, packed her things, and smiled as she walked out. She assumed I was shattered. I wasn't. I had simply woken up. Revenge doesn't come in a rush. It simmers. It takes patience. Precision. I spent months learning everything about Carter. His company structure, hidden investments, rivals, weak points. I studied late into the night, vanished from social circles, re-emerged in places that mattered. Silent meetings, high-stakes boardrooms. Then came the setup. I constructed 3 dummy corporations, 2 investor fronts, and 1 fake acquisition group shielded under a web of fake names and offshore entities. Carter signed away a chunk of his empire, 30%, to someone he never traced back to me. Within half a year, I had enough influence to sway opinions in his own boardroom. When his latest product crashed, thanks to a strategically leaked prototype I arranged, the murmurs grew louder. Then came the votes. I watched Carter Vale be ousted from his own empire on a rainy Tuesday morning. His wife, my ex, stood beside him during the press announcement. She didn't cry. She didn't flinch. She thought that was the bottom. She was wrong. Because now here we are, in this opulent ballroom full of polished masks and hushed secrets. She saw me standing alone by the bar's marble edge and couldn't resist. "Still by yourself, huh?" I smiled again. That's when she entered. Elena. She moved through the crowd like she owned the air around her. Calm, graceful, sharp. A Harvard-trained corporate lawyer. Carter's former chief counsel. The very woman who had helped dismantle his empire piece by piece. Elena slid her arm through mine. And in that subtle gesture, the past 4 years crystallized into one moment. My ex's expression cracked. You could almost see the realization settling behind her eyes. The mysterious investor who bankrolled my return? Elena. The attorney behind Carter's boardroom downfall? Elena. The architect of the lawsuit freezing their assets? Elena. And now, Elena was Mrs. Pierce. Her lips parted. You're married?" Elena offered a smile, sweet and surgical. "For almost a year now." I lifted my glass. We kept it quiet. You know how people love to talk. Her face didn't just pale. It imploded. Carter, the man she'd left me for, stood across the room like a statue carved from debt and humiliation, speaking to a subordinate who used to answer to him. Carter didn't even glance her way. I let the silence hold. Her shoulders drew up, her grip on her clutch tightening, nails digging in. This wasn't fury. It was clarity. Every gala she once dragged me to where I stood forgotten. Every moment she told me I'd never measure up. Every time she whispered that luxury was love. I hadn't forgotten a second of it. And tonight, neither would she. Elena and I walked past her slowly, with the kind of presence that turns heads and starts rumors. We stopped in the center of the room, where Carter stood stiff and colorless. Elena spoke first. "We'll have our office send the final documentation." Carter's jaw tightened. "You won't get away with this." I met his eyes, still unwavering. "Already have." We didn't wait for a reply. I took Elena's hand and we left. No mic drop. No parting insult. Just silence. The kind that echoed louder than anything words could say. By sunrise the city would buzz. By the start of the work week, they'd be finished. I didn't do any of this because they left me. I did it because they assumed I'd stay broken. I never hated her for walking out. I hated that she believed I'd never rise again. Now, She watches me walk away with everything she once called her dream. And for the first time in years, I sleep with a smile, earned not imagined.